What's up, guys? It's Jam1 for Jam1TCG coming at you guys with another totally awesome video, and this time it is round 3 of the Crush Cup. As I mentioned to you guys, Crush Cup 2020 is an online tournament that Cimoooooooo has been hosting, and here's round 3. I've been displaying to you guys my matches so you guys can see that the Frog Master is still here, still doing what he can do with the frogs, even with Toad to 1. So we're going to go ahead and start this off. So in this one, this is me first facing Eldlich for probably, I believe, the first or second time ever since its release. I go ahead and I win the rock, paper, scissors, but I didn't know what he was playing at first, to be honest with you. So this was my mistake by not doing my homework here because I wasn't 100% sure about what it was when I realized what he was playing. I just kind of wrote this deck off, but guys, this is, as I mentioned in the other ones, I go ahead into main phase. As I mentioned in the other videos, this tournament's been going on for a couple weeks, and Secret Slayers came out in the middle of the release of the tournament. So this is now the middle, and Secret Slayers just got released at this point by round 3. So people are going to start playing newer cards now. So I go ahead and I set this and this and the trap tricks. And as you guys see, I'm playing Mystic Mind. I already watched the other videos. I explained the logic behind it already. It basically helps us as frog players still win, even going second. So he goes and he's asking, he wanted to do text chat, which I don't like too much because you have to ask everything. I was used to voice chatting with people, but it's okay. So he just asks, is it good and everything? And I just say, yeah. So he started setting cards. And I'm like, what is he playing? Is he playing Ultra Guys? Because that was like an old format deck, right? Or I was like, maybe Guru. Maybe is he playing Toads? I don't know what he's playing. I doubt anybody else would be playing frogs but me. So I was just like, okay, sure, set all those cards. And I'm thinking here, I could pop one of them with trap tricks by going into Oleanoids there, but I didn't really want to like waste it on all of these cards set. I'm not sure what I do here. I was thinking, looks like I just decided to go on to my turn. So I was like, okay, this is kind of all right. Let's start making him use some of these cards. Because like I said, guys, being a control player, you want to control the field as best as possible. So I decided to try to start baiting him. I asked him if he has anything. It's always important. Every phase shift, ask your opponent if they have anything because you can activate cards in phase shifting, and you don't want no miscalculations and understanding. So always just say, hey, anything. Do you have anything? So you're going to see me asking that a lot, and he does the same thing. But yeah, so go to main phase, and I'm going to go ahead and use my swap frog, summon the normal summon, and try to see if he has anything here. I want to bait it because Swap Frog Summon is really good. So, of course, he's going to do something, most likely. He has some type of response. I'm like, what? Really? He said, okay. I'm like, really? He doesn't have anything to Swap Frog Summon? That's weird. So, again, I didn't know what he was playing at this point. I'm still trying to figure it out. So, I go ahead and I just send my Ronin, which was probably a mistake in a way because if he was playing any type of DD Crow type cards, I would have got it removed. But he doesn't do anything so on the resolution. So I just go ahead and go to battle phase and try to do some damage here while I have Swap Frog because I'm expecting that if he's gonna flip a card, maybe he'll summon a monster. And then here it goes. The Scarlet Sanguine, whatever this is called. This card is nuts, guys. It lets you just special summon the Golden Lord out of your deck, out of nowhere. Golden Lord is basically the boss monster of this new archetype, and it basically gets everything rolling in the deck. You need all of the cards say you have to control the Golden Lord in order to use their effects. So he brings out the big Golden Boy, and his effect is really nice too. It basically, he can send stuff from the field to the graveyard by targeting and sending it, and he can bring himself back from the graveyard like a true zombie. It's crazy. And you see the stats on this guy, it's huge. So I go ahead and I book a moon it because I studied a little bit of this deck, but I still wasn't 100% sure. But I knew that if I book a moon him, he can't activate any of his other cards because Golden Lord needs to be face up on the field. I knew that much, but that was about it at this matchup. I didn't know much else about the deck. and I get kind of punished for it later, you'll see, because I didn't do my research, and that was my mistake, and I should have. But I'll go ahead and book a moon him. This is kind of a bad play because I don't really have much of a follow-up, except I think I tried to trigger a trap trick or something now to get another monster on board, because I couldn't deal with that attack. Like, you see the big booty on this thing? It's got 28 defense. So I go ahead and I do that, and he didn't have any response to me going ahead and flipping it face down. So we just go ahead and we see what happens next. So yeah, that's what I tried to do. That's what I thought. I go ahead and I try right here to bring out one of my paleos that's engraved to Canada, because I'm like, okay, well, I need to get my board going because I don't know what else to do. And I could have just Mystic Mine him, but I was afraid that that might not have been enough because I didn't know the deck too well. So I go ahead and I try to make him waste more cards. And if this fails, then I'll bounce back and Mystic Mine him. But he flips a summon limit on me. I'm like, oh no. If you guys aren't familiar with summon limit, that's what it does. I just hovered over it so you can see it. It basically restricts you from summoning more than 2 monsters in one turn. So as you guys know right here, I could have went into Opabinia or Toad or Coral, but I was just like, well, there goes my second summon. So that kind of sucks there. I'm kind of stuck. I'm like, okay, well, what do I do? So I trap tricks to try to get rid of it, because I'm like, I'm not letting you do that. So I go ahead and I flip the trap tricks to set Oleanoids, which is our MST of the Paleos. And then I go ahead and say anything, try to, like, do you have anything? And he says no, I believe, unless he flips something else. So here I go. I'm thinking like, yes, I got him. I go ahead and pop this. Then he flips another one. I'm like, really? Two summon limits. So this really puts me in a bad position here, guys, because I'm like, wow, now I'm kind of stuck. I am really stuck at this point. So I think I kind of just bank on, well, I have a metaverse, so if he goes crazy, I can use that. So I'll go ahead and bounce Frog back to hand. He jumps on my shoulder here, and we just sit and chill, and we wait and see what else he does. At least I burned through some of his resources. That was the kind of the plan at first, because I'm like, I don't know much about this deck now that I know what he's playing. I just want to burn through every card and try to get to something. So he goes ahead and goes to his turn now. And this is scary because he can flip this thing back up now, which he does immediately, which is scary because, like I said, this deck works by having him on field, and then everything in your deck comes online. So now if these are the trap cards, they are live. So I was afraid here. So he goes ahead and he smacks over my Dino Miscus. It has 1200 attack. So I'm going to take a lot of damage here. Then it's going to get banished, which is bad for me because having it not in graveyard means I can't trigger it. So now I'm like, okay, fine. My field is clear now, so now I think I can go ahead and flip my Mystic Mine on him because I want to like just kind of stop him from doing stuff, which, as you guys will see, Mystic Mine is kind of bad in this matchup. It doesn't really do much. So I'm just thinking here what to do. He goes ahead and he sets a card on top of his already crazy back row. And it's not looking good here, guys. I'm just kind of like, wow, this deck is kind of more powerful than I thought it was. Because, again, at this point in the tournament, I wrote this deck off. I didn't even research it as much. I just kind of read most of the cards and just was like, okay, so they do this. And I didn't really try to understand it as much. But shout out to Pack. He's a streamer. He's been playing this deck. I've been watching his streams, and yeah, he plays it really good. So I go ahead and I flip the Leluchali or whatever, and it brings back a banish. But then he meets it with their solemn judgment, basically. Like, I'm like, wow, that sucks. So he gets rid of, he has to tribute with his Golden Lord, and then he can just negate something. It's an Omni negate. So I'm just like, that's not good. So I was trying to trigger my Paleos and get some more advantage back. And then maybe try to get into Opie and get rid of that. Something. But then he just, you'll see the power of this deck. These trap cards in graveyard on their end phase, they get to banish them. And then they get to set more cards from their deck. So it's kind of like a cycle, a snowball cycle. He goes ahead and sets the elixir. So these can set the elixir stuff, and then the golden lands can set these. So it gets really kind of weird here. So he snowballs out of control. I can't really do anything. So he sets that. This allows him to bring back the Golden Lord, right? So at this point, I get kind of desperate, and I go ahead and I flip my Mystic Mine on my turn to try to do something. I just really want a frog, and I didn't want to have to waste my normal summon because I was afraid that he could, which I know right there, he could bring it back. And if he has the pop or if he has the banish, he would stop me from making any plays. So there's 3 monsters in this deck. One is the Horus, the Conquistador. It lets you basically pop any face-up card on the field. The other one, it 0 outs. It's a dog-looking thing. It 0 outs your attack points. And then the last one is like a DD Crow. It's a zombie-looking thing. It can DD Crow anything from your graveyard. So I knew that much, and I was like, okay, I don't want him to do that to me. So I go ahead and I flip this and bring mine to my hand and try to get a Paleo on field to try to normal summon my Swap Frog and do some stuff. And I asked him if he has anything, and he didn't. So I did that on the end phase. So here we're looking kind of bad because Impermanence doesn't do anything to this deck, guys. It really doesn't. I mean, you can set up some zones and maybe negate the zones, but it's kind of useless. So this is kind of a dead draw. But as you see, you might see a line of play here. I can maybe flip this over and make his summon limit useless. That's what I was thinking if for some reason I fail to get rid of it right now. But I go ahead and I normal summon Swap Frog to try to get some more graveyard material and make him do something because I need him to do something because I know what this is. I don't know what these two are, and I need to get rid of the summon limit. So, and that was another reason for me flipping the mime on his turn so I can get a monster, and that wouldn't count towards summon limit. It would only be 1 on his turn, not mine. So that was the point here. I'm like, okay, I have 2 summons now. So that was my 1, and then I go into an Exceeds right here, and this is going to be 2. I go OP because I want to try to get rid of his thing if I can right here. So I go for OP. That's my second summon. Swap Frog 1, OP 2. Summon limit restricts me from summoning anymore. And I ask him if he has anything to summon an OP because, and then he solemn judgments me. I'm like, wow, I just can't win here. This is really getting out of hand. He keeps meeting all my plays with cards, and he's not losing any real advantage because he can keep banishing his cards from the graveyard. So I'm just like, ooh, this is getting rough. So that like basically stopped me in my tracks. I mean, I could bring back, because the summon was technically negated, I could bring back something else, but at this rate, it doesn't really do anything. So I believe I'm kind of stuck here, and I don't know if I just set that. Yeah, I'll set the imperm and then just end my turn. There was nothing I could really do here. Then he goes ahead and he flips the quick play one, and it allows him to bring back the golden lore from his hand or his graveyard. It looks like he brings the one back from his graveyard. So as you guys see, this recursion is nuts, man. This deck is actually pretty decent. I wrote it off like, oh, who cares? But like, man. And then he brings out this one right here. This is the one that I was talking about. So they're all monsters. They're trap monsters, right? So this is the one that will 0 out attack points. It has a big booty defense. So he just did that to bring out something. I could have chained a Paleo, but I didn't want to because I didn't want it to just die. So I'm just like, kind of like, what do I do here? So he goes ahead and he flips the Golden Lord to attack mode. And at this point, Summon Limit kind of got him a little bit too. So I'm like, okay, he can't kill me. He's not going to kill me. He's not going to get rid of the Summon Limit. So he goes ahead and he attacks me directly with Golden Boy. And Golden Boy is big, guys. Like I said, he can get even bigger too if you get him off of his effect. He'll gain 1,000 attack points, as you see right there. But he's at his normal base attack. And he goes ahead and he sets a card. And then he uses this. This card has an effect in graveyard, and it lets him set more. So he goes ahead and he banishes. And it's like, as you guys see, it's really hard to stop him from doing this stuff. I can't do anything. It was looking really bad here. So he goes ahead, he sets the forever. Again, another block to my plays. So now if I do try to summon some stuff next turn, he's going to stop me. So he sets that off of this. And then I go to my turn on the end phase. He might even have another one in graveyard to do something else. No, he doesn't. But yeah, if he did, he could have kept snowballing. So I draw lost wins, which also does nothing in this matchup, guys. Like I said, this deck that I had right now was kind of crafted towards the last format with Shadows and Spyro and all that stuff. So these cards are really good against them, but against this new stuff, my hand was like really dead, and I was like, what do I do? So I go ahead and I just activate Mystic Mind because Mystic Mind saved me a lot of times before. Why not? I need to buy some turns, which is, you guys look at my last couple rounds, you'll see what I talked about, the logic behind Mystic Mind and Frogs. So it kind of stops him for a little bit, and I go ahead and I set lost wins. I don't want to go ahead and trigger. So hold on, pause here. My thought pattern before he did that, was mine will buy me at least a couple turns for me to do something, which is not even true because now that I played this deck more before this match, I understand that they can just pop with the horse and conquistador like this. They can just pop mine and it doesn't matter. But before this, he would have had to like kind of wait another turn anyway. So I was buying myself something. And then I was gonna flip right here my imperm to negate his in the same column, because you know when imperm does that, I was gonna negate his the summon limit floodgate, and then I was gonna try to bring a paleo and try to start snowballing my stuff. But then on my end phase, he flips Imperial Order, guys, which normally wouldn't do much against a paleo, but in my build, this kind of hurt. I was like, wow, he just has all the answer here. He meets me card by card every single play I try to do. So you see he does that, and I'm just like, wow, okay, sure. So he renders my Mystic Mind useless. I go ahead and chain now because I don't want to die at this point. My life points are looking really low. I chain the Lelucha to bring out my Paleo from graveyard, the Lelucha Paleo, put it in defense mode to just try to block some of his attacks because he's about to go nuts and I can't really stop him. But again, I'm not too worried because of his own summon limit actually stops him too. So I'm just like, okay, he's not going to go crazy. He can't go crazy. What is he going to do? Now, after like seeing this though, at any point, if he can get another Golden Lord in his graveyard, he can get rid of this. And then he like, I don't know if that was his top deck, but he goes into an extravagance. It most likely was a top deck because he would have used it before. They don't care much about their extra deck, honestly. They just run like some trains and some other stuff. But then I tell him, that was a misplay, sir, because you have your own Imperial Order right here. Then he realizes that I don't think he saw it. He must have top decked it, got excited, and just played it. But I told him, yeah, you got your order, so you can't even do that. So he's like, okay. But I still made him banish for cost and everything because he activated it. So then he goes ahead and he attacks with the little wolf thing. It has 800 attack, but I got 0 defense. And then he goes ahead and busts through and hits me directly with the Golden Boy. So yeah, I didn't really understand what this deck was supposed to do. Like I keep saying that. But now I understand it better, and watching his match, I understand like, wow, I should have scooped. Like he had kind of complete control. I should have just scooped a little bit earlier. But I just kept playing. I'm like, you know what? I might as well, let's see if I can outgrind him because my deck grinds too. But this deck kind of outgrinds a lot of control decks, and that's kind of like why it's so powerful. So he attacked me directly with that, and then he goes ahead and ends his turn. Does he have any of them engraved? No, he doesn't. But I know he has the Golden Land Forever right here because he said it, right? And I'm just kind of like, what do I do? I'm not 100% sure what to do. So I try to activate Lost Winds on his end phase because I want to try and set up my plays for next turn, like I said. So I can trigger my Paleo Engrave right here, and if he doesn't have anything. So I go ahead and I do that. I bring it out. Mystic Mind is like locked because of that. So this is all in phase. I wanted him to use his forever there, but he just didn't. He just didn't feel it was a threat enough, I don't think. So whatever. Whatever forever. So he goes in, he's thinking, I believe. Oh, he forgot to pay the cost of leaving that out. And at this point, I'm kind of hoping and relying that maybe he'll burn himself out with the order, and I'll be able to do something. And you guys see I draw a Gozen match, which again, in this build, this was the build tailored towards last format. Gozen match was very powerful last format. Now this format is not as powerful, and I believe I'm going to take it out because it's not really doing much for me, especially in this matchup. They're all light monsters. Look at this. This guy, he says right there, he's a light zombie. So this doesn't do anything. Gozen Match is the one for the attribute. If you guys aren't familiar with it, it's like there can only be one, but for attributes. So I'm like, wow, like this kind of sucks. I can't do anything. So I'm just thinking like, okay, here's the big play that I've been setting up for a couple turns now. I'm gonna have to flip over the the imperm, get another paleo if possible, which I don't even have one, but at least that would turn it off for me to basically get into some swap frogs or something if things get bad. So we go ahead to my turn. He burns again for the order. Now I go ahead and I go and use Ronin Tonin. And then he beats me with a DD Crow. I just can't do anything, guys. Like, literally, that was the play. That was literally the play. And, of course, he's going to target the Ronin after I use the cost to banish. He's going to target Ronin, and then I'm not going to have a monster in graveyard, which there's my resources. The only way to really win is to have more resources, which I couldn't do. So he goes ahead and he banishes my only target. All right, so yeah, so right here, I'm just kind of like, what do I do here? He keeps meeting every play I do with a card, and I'm just like, really don't know how to handle this. So, at this rate here, I accidentally banished the wrong card, but yeah, he was gonna go. He had said swap frog or something. I don't remember what happened, but yeah, basically I did that one on cost, and then he banishes the Ronin Tonin. So this kind of like stops me here. Now I'm just like, you know what, YOLO, because at this rate his life points are low enough. So this is like the only hope of me winning this game at this point. Because I was gonna just make an Exceed monster and beat over his weak monster and win. It was what I was trying to do, but I couldn't get there. So I just go ahead and I attack his little weak one. It's at 800. I'm at 12. So I'm like, okay, I'll do some damage here. Might as well. I got nothing else to do. So I go ahead and I do that, which adds up because he's still under his order. So I'm really hoping that I can just burn his life points out. So then I set this as a bluff. Maybe I can trigger a paleo later or something, but it doesn't really do anything against this matchup. So then he goes ahead and on the end phase, now he can use the effect of this, and he'll banish it, and then he can set another card from his deck, which is insane. The only weakness I've seen with this is that they can only do it once per turn, each effect once per turn. So if they activate this, they can't do the banish graveyard effect, okay, until the next turn. But he flipped this, remember, he flipped it last turn, so he was okay to do this. And getting it off the field didn't help. So he gets his Scarlet Sanguine, which is bad for me because now he can get another Golden Boy, and I can't actually stop that. So this is really looking bad here. So let's see what happens. He goes ahead, he sets that, he goes to his turn. He burns again on the standby phase with his with the order. I remind him because he forgot, but I remind him to burn. But it doesn't really matter at this point because he's about to flip and get another Golden Boy out of his deck. So he burns. He's at 800. So close. I'm like, yes, we're getting there. I still wasn't 100% sure. But he goes and he does an interesting line of play here. He flips his own Sanguine, negates his own Sanguine with his Forever. And I was like, whoa, he can do that. So it was really interesting to me. I was like, how and why? So he does that. He negates it. He tributes the Golden Boy so he can negate his own Sanguine. Now the Golden Boy's in graveyard. He basically has more than enough attack points to get over this and win. Because if you remember, if Golden Boy's in graveyard, he can come back. So he sends his face-up Imperial Order to the graveyard to bring the Golden Boy out of the graveyard. So we're reading his effect. As you see, he can do that. So he's going to do that. Brings the Golden Boy back to his hand. Then he summons it to the field with a attack point boost of 1,000. And I didn't understand this at first because, like I said, I wasn't 100% familiar with the deck. I was assuming that, okay, when he attacks, I'll just flip over my Infinite Impermanence and negate his effect. Because I'm like, okay, once I negate his effect, he'll go back down to his attack points, and I'll still have a life points left in the difference, and I won't die. Because if he hits me with 35 over 12, it's game right there. But then we kind of get stuck here with a ruling debate, and he's like, you can't like do this. So I flip it over here on the resolution of his attack, on declaration of his attack. I flip it over and I try to negate it, and then he's just like, okay, that doesn't do anything. I'm like, are you sure? And then I didn't understand the ruling, but because he brought it straight to the field. But in reality, guys, his graveyard effect triggers in graveyard, and then he adds it to his hand. Then he summons it. So the golden boy that was in the graveyard, which even though it was the same card, is not his effect anymore. So I can't, negating that face up one doesn't do anything because he already gained the attack points from it, which I didn't understand that at first, but now I get it because of how it resolves. But I didn't do my homework on this. So he goes ahead and he ends me basically after we talk about the ruling. He tells me about it, and I decide to think and reread some cards. I'm like, okay, yeah, he's right. So it didn't matter. So that's enough damage because he's at 35 and I couldn't stop it. So he ends the game right there. So close, so close. So close. I thought I had it, but we brought the judge and it didn't matter. And then there's a spectator jumps in. Guys, I get really nervous when people start watching my matches. I'm not gonna lie to you. But hopefully by doing this series, it'll give me a little bit more like focus to not care. But yeah, so we go to proceed to the next game in side deck. I didn't know if I should go first or second. I think that I just go first because I was like, it's a trap deck and I don't want him to get rolling. So I go first. And I open really mediocre here. This would have been a great hand if it was any other deck facing, but I didn't know that border is kind of useless against him. Like, because all of those effects don't really matter too much, and they're mostly trap effects. So I didn't know. It was a misplay by me. Like I said, I really didn't do my homework on this deck because when the Crush Cup started, the format was still the same. Secret Slayers wasn't out, so I didn't know. So I go ahead thinking that this is a good play. I normal summon my border, and then I set Lost Winds. Lost Winds is so dead in this matchup. I should have took it out of this matchup, and I didn't know. But so I go ahead and set these, and I set this. The only saving grace of this hand is Scapegoat here, guys. I'm like, okay, if I flip Scapegoat, I can win. Because we're playing Zoroboros, but we're also playing Avamax and Sporosaur. So I'm like, we're good. So he goes ahead and proceeds to his turn. I go ahead and I just preemptively flip Trap Tricks. And the reason why I do this, guys, you guys have probably seen this in the last couple matchups. We're playing our boy, Red Pointy Finger Ant guy. So we bring this out because I want to just see what his hand is. I don't know anything much about this deck too much, but I understand that if he has the Golden Boy, it's whatever. Porter being up does actually save me from the Golden Boy a little bit, though, because he can't send it to the graveyard. And then he has to work harder to get it in on the field on his first turn. So it's not terrible, but it is pretty bad. So I go ahead and I put the pointy finger down, and you guys can read what it does if you didn't see me use this card already. But it's a really good card, honestly. So I go ahead and I flip it now. I paid the 2,000. I show him my Lilith, and then now we can see his hand. So let's see what he was running up here. He had no response to it, so I was able to see his hand. And this is why this card exists, guys. It's so good. I can kind of see what he's playing here. And I'm afraid of the Evenly. I'm afraid of the DD Crows. I'm afraid of a lot of cards in his hand. But we see he has the Golden Boy. He has the Golden Boy. He has the one that banishes. He has the one that zero outs attacks and 2 DD Crows in an evenly match. What a hand. It's kind of bricky, honestly. But the only thing that's actually saving me is border because he can't use the Golden Boy's effect here. Like I said, this is me now understanding how this deck works. He can't use that effect, and like he can use evenly, but then it doesn't really matter. So I believe I take the evenly because the evenly is the best call here. The DD Crows don't do anything. I don't have any frogs right now. Yeah, I ripped the evenly. I have to. That's like the literally best thing to do, and his hand is dead now. So he kind of bricked though, honestly, but those cards are scary. He goes ahead and he sets, actually, we won't know what this is now, but we can see it. I knew that it had to be one of them, right? So he sets that. He sets 2 unknowns and then goes and sets, obviously, a DD Crow because we know what his hand is. And I'm just thinking, like, okay, I can win. If I flip over this, I can just go into my Avamax. Then he gets this back at his end phase. I can go Avamax or I can go Borosaur. I wanted to go Borosaur to end it, but then I realized that he had a defense mode monster, so it wouldn't be the end of the game. So I have to figure out what to do here. So I go ahead on his end phase and flip Scapegoat. Scapegoat is like one of our power cards. It just ends so many games or sets up the writing on the wall for ending, which I was playing pretty decently in this game. The ignorance is so important in this game. If you don't know what certain cards do and how to play around them, you will lose. So I'm looking here and I'm like, okay, what do I do? Do I go into Borosaur? I draw the order, which is also kind of bad. And against this matchup, it only stops a few cards that they do. So I'm just looking, what do I do here? I wanted to go into one of my plays, one of my scapegoat package plays. So I go for the Link Spider. I go for the Link Karibo, and I want to start picking this field apart. And then I go into Phoenix. Phoenix is now co-linked, so I get the pop and draw, so I get rid of one of these useless cards. I throw Lilith to graveyard, and then I go ahead and I pop one of these, and I hit the one that banishes from the graveyard to DD Crow. So that's pretty good. Doesn't really matter again. He could have flipped it, but it wouldn't have mattered. It would have still been destroyed. So then I draw a card. I draw a useless Paleo. It doesn't really help here. So I just say, okay, whatever. Then I'm going to go ahead and use Link Karibo's effect in graveyard to bring back do I? No, I don't do that. I actually go here and make IP. Okay. Yeah, I made IP instead. So this play was actually pretty powerful, and it would have been pretty powerful. So, but I forgot he had to evenly match back. I don't know why I wasn't thinking straight here. So I go into Big Daddy Avamax, which Avamax is now immune because of IP. So it's really powerful. This is such a strong play. I'm like, yeah, because like now I should be good, right? But then I was scared because I was like, oh no, he has the Golden Boy in hand. Doesn't Golden Boy like send to the graveyard without targeting? No, but I didn't know this. So I go into battle phase and I just go ahead and beat over the DD Crow. And then I smack him directly with Avamax. Then he flips over one of the trap monsters and brings out it in defense mode, I believe. And I just say, whatever, I'll go ahead and attack it with Avamax. So, okay, now I clear this field. I'm looking pretty good. But then my dumb self forgot he has it evenly. Why did I let him do that? I don't know why I let him do that. I really forgot that his hand's like that. So he goes in and he punishes me for clearing his field. And I'm thinking like, okay, that's not too bad still. I mean, most of these cards are dead anyways. My smart self decides, let me think. What do I want to get rid of? And this is a typical jam misplay, guys. I'm so mad at myself for doing this. I decide to banish everything except border. This was a huge misplay. I should have left Avamax on the field because Avamax couldn't be targeted. The reason why I did this, though, was because I was afraid of Golden Boy. I thought that he just auto sends to the graveyard without targeting. And then I was like, okay, well, I'm going to lose Avamax. So I don't know why I did that. Now that I know, that would have actually probably been the end of the game because all of their cards target. So if I would have had targetable Avamax and it was undestructible by IP Masquerena, I probably would have won and just been settling like, wow, okay. But this was a huge, huge misstep on my part. And it was due to lack of knowledge. So this is why it's important to know what cards do, guys. I'm going to cover his hand now because we, at this point, won't know what he draws. So we know he has a Golden Boy and DD Crow. And I'm like, okay, if he draws a card, he can send. But because I have border, it won't matter. He won't be able to send anything. But then I also forgot that, look, he can banish the trap cards in graveyard to start setting more cards and get more advantage. So he sets the Sanguine, which now renders border pretty useless because he can go ahead and bring it straight from his deck. So he won't have to struggle anymore to get it on the field. So in his main phase, he doesn't do anything. I don't do anything. I'm waiting to see if he has anything else. He goes ahead and he sets a card. I go to my turn. Then he goes and he banishes that on his end phase. Wait, on his end phase? What is he doing here? Looks like it's frozen for a minute. Hold on, guys. Okay, yeah. So he banishes that and he sets the other elixir thing, which lets him get another golden boy. So you guys can kind of see right here why it was bad to keep border. I should have just kept Avamax, especially since it was undestructible. I would have been okay. He would have had no choice but to beat over it. And the only way he could have beat over it was bringing Golden Boy back with his own effect, which means he would have been special summoned, which means Avamax still would have been strong enough to beat over it. So this was a misplay, guys. And I decide I think I have control here. I try to keep attacking him. Then he brings one from deck. And now this is where it's like, oh man, now what do I do? So I set the compulse to maybe like slow him down a little bit again. Maybe I can compulse it back. And then I go ahead and Lelouch something back. I can even target my banished face down cards. So I decided to do this just to get a Paleo in graveyard. And I target my lost wins to bring it back just so I can have something in case he tries to go into the extra deck. Which again, misplay because this deck does not really even go into their extra deck unless they're making a train or something. So I go ahead and I trigger this to negate that, and then I bring back a Paleo. But then at this point, it's like, okay, so he has that in there, and he uses the effect to banish my lost wins that I just put back in the graveyard because he can do that because he controls the Golden Boy now. So next, this look like it's lagging again, guys. Be patient. So yeah, so it goes to his turn now. I'm like, okay, I have a compulse. I don't have any Paleos engraved, no frogs either. So I'm looking like, okay, if I can just keep Golden Boy off field, I should be okay. So he goes ahead and he tries to start attacking me with his cards now. He goes for the border, and I go ahead and I flip and bounce that back to his hand. So now he's kind of stuck again because he's has to use his effect to get him back now or draw another Sanguine or something. So I'm just like, okay, I'm just going to keep the golden thing off the field. That's all I was thinking. He goes ahead and he attacks. It has 1,800 attacks, so he beats over my 12. Then he sets a card, and then he uses both of those to keep setting. And this is, again, the recursion power of this deck is really strong. They just keep setting cards. So he gets Forever, and then the horse, the Popper, the Conquistador. So I'm just like, okay. I draw into Oleanois, which doesn't do much, and I burn for the order. Oleanois is trap card removal in this matchup isn't that strong. It's okay, but as you see, they just keep recurring from the graveyard every time. So it's like you can pop their stuff, but then there goes he flips the red again, and I'm just like, oh man! Now he gets another Golden Boy back to the field. So he has two in his hand, and then brings one from his deck. So that's his last one from his deck. Now he has Golden Lord access, and now there it goes. He flips over the horse because now he controls the Golden Lord, right? And then because he does that, he can go ahead and now pop one of my cards, which of course he chooses the pop border. So now my Silver Surfer's gone. I'm looking really bad here. Again, I'm so mad at myself. I kind of threw this game away with my lack of knowledge of how this deck actually works. So he goes ahead and he brings out, he just goes and attacks me. And I can't do anything at this rate. I mean, we have this, but it doesn't really do anything. So I admit defeat here, and I just kind of lost, guys. I know I threw that game away. I really wasn't thinking. And we talked about it too. I told him that was my first time really playing the deck. So I didn't know, and I misread the Golden Lord. Like I said, the real misplay here was Golden Lord right here says he targets. If I would have reread that, I would have been fine. But I thought it was busted. I thought it said just send to the graveyard anything. But no, it's not like Dingirsu, guys. It actually does target. So if I would have kept Ava Max because Ava Max cannot be targeted by card effects, I would have been fine. But it's all good. Yeah, guys, stay tuned for the next round to see what happens, all right? Also, comment below. This has been a very hard matchup for Frogs to deal with. So if you guys know any tricks that might help, please let me know in the comment section. Click one of the videos. It should pop up, and you'll see it whenever it posts the next round. All right? See you there.